Show. I'm Sal Paolantonio. That, of course, is Greg Cosell.
Oh, yeah.
Darius Butler is
Good morning.
here. Week 3 is here.
Already.
With the #1 game of the week. You know why? Because I am going to be there.
Somehow I knew that.
Yeah, Rams.
Could have guessed that one.
Also the #1 game of the week in South Philadelphia. These two teams, they're so dynamic.
Yes.
This matchup is so fascinating. These two teams are very interesting to watch. Won 3 Super Bowls in the last 8 years combined, and they know how to win games and get to the big game and win it, and that's the key thing. So we want to start with Butler Breakdown.
Oh, yeah, my favorite part of the show. And one of my favorite quarterbacks still in the league, my classmate, first pick of the 09 draft. He's still playing high-quality ball.
High quality.
And I'm sitting here talking ball with you guys. But hey, look,
you
talked about dynamic. One of the things you said, dynamic, and that's a great word to explain this offense.
Yes.
Lead the league in under center snaps, bunch of play action, bunch of pre-snap movements. Let's get to the tape. You know, coaching matters, but players and plays matter as well. Butler Breakdown, baby. Let's get to it.
Come on.
1st and 10. You know your Eagles side. They're going to play a lot of 2 high safety looks, and that's exactly what the Titans are going to do here, and this is how the Rams are going to attack that coverage. First of all, under center, leading the league, like I said, in under center snaps and play action snaps as well. They're looking like man pre-snap, looking like maybe quarters, maybe something there. They're going to rotate and actually be covered too. And that's a tough coverage to defend this passing concept when they have time to get down there. The hook curl player, he's a little short. Devontae Adams been playing a lot of ball in this league for a long time. Finds the soft spot of the coverage, gets the ball, and gets some yak.
I believe they got that guy.
Yeah, the other part of the dynamic duo is Puka Nacua. Now we're in number 12, and this is a minute and a half left in the game. You get a first down here, it's game over, so you better believe they're going to find 12 in the big-time gotta-have-it situation. He kind of sneaks out of the backfield. For that defender, that's tough. He has run responsibility. His eyes are a little slow. He beats him, gets to the flat, catches the ball, and just as important as catching it is staying in bounds. So getting some more yards, getting some more yak up the sideline, and staying in bounds. They have 2 fourth-down conversions this season so far, and both of them have gone for touchdowns. This is Puka once again behind the line of scrimmage. Give him a speed sweep, get to the edge. Not only pick up the first down, you got 5 guys over there. Somebody's got to get 12 on the ground. He's not an easy tackle, keeps his vision, breaks 1 tackle. O-line does a great job getting the boys out of the way, and he gets it up the sideline and gets it into the end zone. You got a dynamic play caller, your head coach, play caller Sean McVay. You got a great quarterback that can still attack, throw the ball down the field. You can run the ball, and you have a dynamic duo at the wide receiver position. You got it all when you got this Rams offense.
You know what? You know I love Butler Breakdown.
Me too. You and me both.
Absolutely. I love you and I respect you, but you better block number 98,
Always a
Jalen
but.
Carter, in this football game right there.
Oh, yeah.
He blew off the divisional round playoff game in the 4th quarter. Came at Matthew Stafford twice on the final drive and disrupted. They got to block him, or the ball's got to come out quick.
Yes.
One of those two things. Next matchup, Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers. Let's focus on the Niners and their pressure package.
Yeah, and 4th quarter is critical, and they've been very good in the 4th quarter. 4th quarter pass rush, a lot of coaches believe, is the key to winning in this league.
Yes.
There's a lot of close games, so you need 4th quarter pass rush. They've done that each of the first 2 weeks to win games, to seal victory. So let's take a look at a play from last week against the Saints. This will be 4th quarter, late in the 4th quarter, okay? And you see it's less than 4 minutes to go. They're up by 1 score, okay? So they show a 7-man front right here. And then you see the safety, a lot of guys, the safety on the edge, and you see the double mug look with Winters and Warner. So how do the Saints deal with this? They bring the back Kamara into a creep alignment because that's where Warner is right there. So how does the blocking map out here? You got 3 to block 3 on the right of the screen. You got 3 to block 3 on the other side. But they can't handle Siegel if he comes. That's the safety who's on the ball. Now, here, what the Niners do, they're only going to rush their 4 down linemen. But this whole look, this 7-man front creates one-on-one for the rookie Mikael Williams, who's inside here, and of course Nick Bosa, one of the 2 or 3 best edge rushers in the league. So you get the one-on-ones. That's exactly what they wanted with that defensive front look. Even though they only rush 4, Sal, they get the matchups they want. And look at Williams. He is so strong, but they get the sack. 4th quarter pressure, a key in this league.
Yeah, welcome back to the NFL Matchup Show, only on ESPN. Don't you forget that.
I sure won't.
Okay, our next matchup, Green Bay Packers and the Cleveland Browns. And the thing about Micah Parsons, #1 for the Packers, is he's such an explosive football player. But his positive energy not only changes the dynamic on the field, but as a teammate in the locker room, he raises the level of everybody's energy.
His energy and confidence, for sure.
He's pretty good. I think we'd be remiss, though, if we didn't mention Jeff Hafley. Because the job he's done, and of course with Micah Parsons, a lot of things can change and be better. But the job he's done, two things really stand out. The way he changes the picture in coverage, pre-snap to post-snap. That's very confusing, even for veteran quarterbacks. And now with Micah Parsons, they can stunt. They're a high-percentage stunt team on third down. But let's start by looking at the coverage change, because that is something they do better than any team in the league through 2 games. Here you're in the high red zone. It's third down. Now they're in their nickel defense. They don't play a lot of dime. So Jared Goff, a veteran, what does he see? He sees a single high safety right now, and he sees his best receiver, St. Brown, being pressed. He might think there's man right there, just by that look.
So the picture tells him.
But watch how everything changes. The safety, Williams, he's going to drop down, okay? The corners are going to sink deep. McKinney's going to rotate inside. What this is going to become, you see all this movement, is what we call cover 2 invert, because it's the corners that are the deep half players.
And you mentioned Jeff Hafley. To see this and to execute this, it has to be great coaching. You remember you used to sneak out as a high schooler? When you tell that loud to your parents, everybody better be on the same page. So pre-snap, post-snap, this defense is on the same page. I love it.
A lot to digest for Goff. He clearly doesn't see it. He thinks he has St. Brown clean. Doesn't have it. Now, the other thing we talked about, Sal, was the Micah Parsons element and the fact that this team stunts a lot on third down. So this is against the Washington Commanders, okay? You're going to see a 5-man front. So what does that do? 5-0 protection, 5 to block 5. There's Parsons on the right. There's Cooper right there. He's a big part of their pressure packages. So you get the 5 to block 5. They're going to run an inside stunt now. You see the 2 slant guys, and you see Cooper he's a great athlete, by the way, with the speed he has and the flexibility, and he's going to get clean into the A-gap right there. But now we get to the Parsons factor, because what does this do? The 5-man front. It's one-on-one, and in this case, it's a rookie right tackle. That's a tough assignment. So he wins in a flash inside. You got Cooper clean in the A-gap, and you sack Daniels. So they've been so good at both these things through 2 games.
Great coach.
That's why you watch the matchup show. Everybody talks about Micah Parsons, but you got to remember the defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley, and the job that he is doing, putting all those components together, meshing them together so that they work. And you want to play complementary football. We talk about Jalen Hurts playing complementary football for his football team. Jordan Love is the same kind of player. Has not thrown an interception in 9 straight games.
And that's huge. They're winning the turnover battle. If your quarterback can take care of the ball, that's huge. But some quarterbacks, they take care of the ball but don't create explosive plays. He does both. And they have a good running game. But I tell you what, Sal, we talked about Micah Parsons. They better take care of 95. Myles Garrett is also a game record. They play a ton of man-to-man coverage. Jordan Love is good against man-to-man coverage. I'm excited to watch this matchup.
Yeah, I am too, because he's missing some aspects of his passing game. So they're going to have to run the ball right at Myles Garrett.
They got a good running back back there.
They do. They have a very good running back. Play complementary football. Good defense, run the ball. Take the pressure off this young man, and they got a pretty easy schedule. They could cruise right to the title in that division. Stay right there. Is our matchup. Next, it is the Lions at the Ravens, and Lamar Jackson has thrown 22 straight touchdown passes on Monday Night Football without an interception.
That's good.
That is good.
That is a Monday Night Football record. But so that means Jared Goff's got to show up to this party. Right? Now they had 511 yards of offense last week against the cooperating Chicago. So now they got
nice way to say that.
They got to go to Baltimore, where they got waxed the last time, 38-6. So what do you got on Goff?
Yeah, you know what? I think Jared Goff will show up. He's been a good quarterback in this league for a long time. And new OC, new OC. But you know what? They did a lot of things that kind of looked like the last OC. Maybe it was because Ben Johnson was over there on the other sideline. But they got back to some of their old ways, and that's getting their playmakers the ball where they do the most damage. Let's get to the tape and see what I'm talking about in the Butler Report. Here we go. First play, under center. Now, you talked about the cooperating Bears. They definitely cooperated on this play, too. 12 personnel. Goff is under center, and it's going to be a zone pressure look defensively. You see the route here from Laporta going across the middle, clearing it out for St. Brown. But they're bringing pressure, and then they're dropping guys. And you see it, we saw this before the show. They're man short on that back end. So what that means is you better get home up front. If you don't, you're going to be in trouble. Laporta, he's going to clear out that linebacker and vacate the middle of the field, and that's where 14 St. Brown does a lot of his damage. This is something you saw week in and week out when Ben Johnson was calling plays, and now it's the same thing with John Morton. And Jahmyr Gibbs, one of the most dynamic running backs in the league, especially when he's on the edge. Now, he can do damage between the tackles as well, but on the edge is where he's really, really special. This is kind of in between a wham play. So you'll get the tight end blocking the 3 technique, get on the edge, a crack block for the wide receiver. That means the cornerback has to make a tackle. He's out leveraged. Jared Goff thinks it's a touchdown. I thought it was a touchdown too. Anytime Gibbs is in space, you think he's going to take it the distance. And this is great play design right here. 2nd and 3. Sometimes you leave those great pass rushers unblocked, and you just design a play so good. You get that eye candy, everything going right. Jahmyr Gibbs takes a step right, goes left, and you get a pitch play out there to the edge. Decker does a great job getting a little touch on that D tackle. 90 flip, as Greg calls it. Get to the edge, and he's going to win most of these races. Sweat did hustle and get a tackle down the field, but Jahmyr Gibbs is special in space. They just have so many weapons. Usually you come in as a defense and you have a game record, and it's probably 2 or 3 guys on that list. This list is about 5, 6 deep, and you got to prepare for them all when 16 is calling the shots.
Really good breakdown. Our next matchup, Kansas City Chiefs 0-2 at the New York Giants 0-2. You look at this Kansas City team, no defined running game. Patrick Mahomes is their leading rusher. Patrick Mahomes is not finding the deep ball.
Nope.
And he's ranked 26th in the league on the money down. Usually they're in the top 3 on 3rd down on offense. So this game and this team right now falls on their defense and Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah, as we speak today, Sal, you nailed it. They are a defensive team right now. And Spags is as good as anybody in the league at getting free hitters to the quarterback. And the way he does it schematically is just beautiful. Let's take a look at an example from week 1 against the Chargers.
Here, out of nickel personnel, the Chiefs showed a too-high safety structure. The coverage has a 2-man look to it, as you can see, but there are tells that indicate otherwise. Focus on slot corner Trent McDuffie. Notice that he was capped by safety Brian Cook. That's an alert that McDuffie would be blitzing. And McDuffie and linebacker Nick Bolton would then walk up to the line of scrimmage. It would be cover 0. Let's map it out. The Chiefs were now in a 6-man front. The Chargers had to account for it. The center, left guard, and left tackle would be responsible for Jerry Tillery, Charles Omenihu, and Bolton. On the other side, the right guard and right tackle would block Chris Jones and George Karlaftis, with the back crossing the formation to account for McDuffie off the slot. Remember, it was cover 0 with all-out blitz, so linebacker Drew Tranquil was part of the pressure. There would be no blocker to account for him, and Justin Herbert did not recognize it. The disguise and the scheme resulted in a free hitter. No one does that better than Steve.
Our next matchup, Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears. Now, Dak Prescott, there he is, in 2 games, has been lights out on the money down. Completing 75% of his passes, averaging over 10 yards per pass.
Yeah, he's playing some very, very good ball and kind of that top 3 to 4 quarterback range, in my opinion. Brian Schottenheimer, his play caller, new head coach, one of my guys, Shotty. They're playing some good ball and close to beating your Eagles, too, going to their money man who dropped a bunch of balls that game.
Now,
but he's balling now, man. Let's get to the tape and see 4 to 88 and maybe some other guys on the money down. Now, look, when they get in 3rd down, 23 of 25 snaps so far has been called pass plays. This is 3rd and 1. CeeDee Lamb with the reduced split to Dak Prescott's right. He's under center. Now watch this split. Down there, when you have that cut split as a cornerback, you want to maintain that outside leverage. But when your hips are open, it's tough to do, especially against a savvy wide receiver and quarterback like these guys. So 4-88, it's a lot of money between those two guys. So you better believe he's going to be looking for his guy. Now here you got 11 personnel. He's in the gun.
What it calls the money down.
Absolutely, money down. The money guys, a bunch of money out here. I'm sitting next to Sal. But anyway, cut split. Now he's going to end up being in the slot after the motion, but he's going to have one-on-one coverage once again with a cornerback outside leverage. So you saw on the last play, he gave him a stem inside, broke outside, and now he's just running away from his leverage. But I want you to watch Dak Prescott from the pocket, because when you have a zone eyes defender, you have to be patient and wait for your wide receiver. You use his eyes, you anticipate the throw, and you hit him on time and on target, which you have to do, especially on the money down. Now we have the money down in the red area. Empty. 0-1 personnel, 4 wide receivers, 1 tight end. Dak Prescott lights